One Love and Wellness. Happy Heart Hour. Season 3, Episode 4. Hey, Lonnie. I already told you.
Wake up, wake up.
Time to wake up. It's not a dream. Get up, get up, get up, get up. It's too extreme. So today is the last episode for the month of October that's going to be related to Mental Health Month. Is it? It may not be. I said that too soon because there was a flash that came to mind that said, there's still a few more days until Halloween, even though I thought today might be the last one. You never know. I'm Precious Mother Love. This is sponsored by Love+Art equals wellness. And we are still talking about Mental Health Month on this episode. We'll see what next one comes. But there's a couple things that I had a conversation with someone about yesterday that I want to share in relation to some of my discoveries. Are vampires real? You know, what about ghosts versus ancestors? Or I think there was a commercial where there was they said, oh, that's like saying spirit versus ghost, or maintenance person versus engineer, or whatever the terms are. You know, housewife versus domestic engineer. No, but I came to the conclusion in that discussion upon further research as well as matriculating in my mind, the vampires can be in the term of vampire, sucking your blood. If someone was to suck your energy, and there are energy vampires, there are people that suck your energy dry, and drain you, and you feel it. That's like your life force. That's like your life energy. That's like your chi. That's like your prana. That is actually your God spark comes, you are fed your energy through your breath. And I'm not sure if that's what a cat's doing when he's up on your chest and he's breathing right at your nose. Never thought about that. Had a cat do that to me once before. Curious that could be something close to the vampire discussion. Now, I got a lot of notes that I have of things that I'm hoping that I can get through them today. That was just one thing off the top because, also Holy Ghost. That's mentioned so many times in the Bible. That the Spirit would be given to us, and that would be the God spark and so on. There's also, and I'm just saying in the terms of the Spirit is in the Bible. So when we look at, when he talked to the Spirit, and he was talking about letting the legions requested that they be sent to the swine, and then, they were led to the cliff. And I don't know, they could have been all to their death, but that I believe has something to do with the association of why bacon or ham or swine or pig is so forbidden or so taboo or so not good for you. Makes a lot of good money on the stock market, though. It is a good investment if you don't eat it yourself. It does make money, in terms of you want to invest in something that you might use, or something that you have a specific belief one way or another against for, whatever. I had to challenge myself in the last couple of days on some new thoughts. I saw something that my mentor Billy Carson had put on. It was just a short blurb of one of his lectures in reference to the reference of God being from somewhere else. They say we're not from here, and he speaks to that, if we're from here and we end up somewhere, another country or another planet, we would be considered an alien. But when God mentioned, or when it was mentioned that God was not from here, it was more so in reference to this planet, So, okay, so now that starts that conversation, that ball of wax. But then there was something else that a movie that I watched on Amazon the other day. And that movie, interestingly enough, I believe it was called Among Us, and I'm going to go back and fact check myself and release that confirmation on the next episode. But they were talking about, I thought that they were talking about God because something in the write up said something about God, and it made me think, oh, that God is among us. But then they were focusing on the alien part, the intelligent life from other places, and the unseen in that manner as well as the seen, actually. Um, and the fact that those that are from other planets would come here and teach people a variety of things, good things, well, I say good things, but how to enhance this human's intelligence, and amplify some of their sensitivities, teaching them telepathic communication, teaching them uh, new formulas, music, new languages, lots of things that they were, passing on to them as far as information, intelligent information, information about some of the past and some of the future, and trying to enlighten them for their mission, which their mission would be to go on and do to teach others. Somewhat similar to what they say in the Bible, right? Um, and so the blood sac. Okay, so we talked about that. Going down my list. Scary, scary. Halloween, scary. Okay, so I put that word there to refer to myself so that I could think about the learned behaviors that we have, you know, for about being scared of certain things. Like, as a mother, my child, as a youth, as a baby, uh, falling is a taught response. If you hurt yourself, that might be when you would have to cry. But if you run after the baby every time they fall, oh, ooh, oh, oh, something, some startle, giving them some attention that gives them, they have to think about, am I hurt or not? You know, why is this person, making this response, their response to that event, whether they're falling. And like I said, if they don't hurt themselves. So what I did, the fall would happen and I would say, I would sit quietly. I would wait until there was a response. And if there was a response like there was something hurt, then I start there, to say, oh, okay, here we go, everything's okay, get up to Daisy, let's move over here, oh, let me see, oh, that's and do whatever it is that I needed to do to tend to that. So that learned behavior meant that every time there was a bump or a tussle or a fall, it wouldn't immediately be recognized as something that would be hurtful. It would be more so, let's, you respond if there is some pain. That would be um, a reason why. Or actually, another response as she got older, I'm okay. I'm okay. And because you're listening and they know that you're listening, and so I think that's a learned behavior. So if we teach people, and it was something in the church, they were always teaching, be afraid of this, don't do that, astrology, numerology, tarot, those are ghosts, not ancestors, and so the ghost versus the ancestor piece, to me, a ghost is a word that you would be more afraid of. An ancestor is something that you wouldn't be afraid of. An ancestor is someone that you feel is looking out for you. And so is an angel. And so in that same light, angel is something that, they're saying they're among us as well. There were lots of accounts of people uh, of light and radiating such a bright light, and they're having some higher intelligences, and that was equated out to something that could be considered an angel. So I've encountered all kinds of things. There was a guy, he was in a Scottish kilt. I was in Baltimore. I was on Redwood Street, and I was near, I had an office there. I was currently at that point in negotiations with Disney. Disney was doing Ladder 49 out of my office, and I wanted to negotiate that they would um, give us a reasonable amount for us to remove our things and allow them to come into our office, replace it, and put whatever movie, stuff that they needed. So, because we moved to a new suite while they were working on that until they finished, and because we were sort of, because of my negotiation tactics, I was able to be on the set and all that kind of stuff. So one of the days when there was some filming going on, there was a guy, a very pale looking guy. He had, to me, from what I could see, all white eyeballs. But it seemed like when he was walking towards me, he was floating, he was gliding, he wasn't walking. He had a kilt on too. And for some reason, when I heard his voice, because there was a telepathic communication, but when I heard his voice, I I imagined it, for whatever reason, it sounded as though it was a foreign language or a foreign accent. And there was, I was standing next to the building. The security guard was right next to me, and there was a cigar on the ledge right next to me. And so this voice said, "My cigar is right next to you. I'd like a light for it." And I don't know if I heard the please part, but I was immediately, and at that time there were a lot of things going on. This was a time when I could say, I want my parking space to be here, and if my parking space is there, then when I get there, that means I should be here. This is the place I should be. I mean, that kind of stuff. I mean, I even would say, okay, I'm on my way. Make room for me out front because I'm ready to come. Come in, and I'd come in, and my parking space would be out front. Anyway, so I left. I did not encounter the man in the kilt with the white eyes that was gliding on his way to me. My response was, I talked to the security guard. I says, "Hey, the gentleman is going to come over here. When he comes, can you light a cigar for him?" And I showed her who it was, and I went on in the building. I mean, you know, these things were happening too often to me at that time. That's just one, story. But I don't know if I wouldn't categorize him necessarily as an alien. He probably wasn't from here, but I would say, he was in the light realm. I just didn't feel that that was something I wanted to. I'm nonchalant about it. I didn't want to be bothered. But I had been going through a lot at that time. I was running a company, a couple hundred people across the United States, and I was, the head chick in charge, doing a whole bunch of good stuff. But, I just felt like, okay, I don't have time for this right now. Let me keep doing what I'm doing. Let me hip her to some game or whatever. Let her have a touch of some enlightenment or get some light in her life. The security guard person. So anyway, in addition to, scary being a learned behavior, and I talked about that those who are first responders having learned behavior, under fire, having to be able to have that muscle memory, have those responses under pressure. Even sports and athletes, competitive sports, boxing, martial arts, and that kind of thing. The responses can be, automated to the point where you don't even think about it and they happen. And so that's what I think that happens in the same way about the scary behavior. That, a child that's afraid of a spider could be because they saw another child who screamed, because that child saw another child who screamed, because that child saw an adult who screamed, or whatever. But you see how I'm saying it? It didn't. It's not as though that spider bit them and they got sick, and then they had all this other baggage with them because of, oh, now I can't eat. And let me tell you what happened to me: graham crackers with chocolate covered graham crackers and marshmallow. Had that on my way to camp one time. On my way to camp up in the West Virginia mountains, and when I got sick, eating that. So I didn't even think I had car sickness, and that was one thing I could have thought of. But as a child, I was like, oh, I ate something and it made my tummy hurt. And so for years and up until now, I pretty much, marshmallow and graham crackers, chocolate covered marshmallow graham crackers. I don't eat it. I can't. I don't even have a taste for it. It has no place in whether I like or don't like. I just it means nothing to me now because now I've gone back and I fixed it. But before I used to be so, oh no, I'll never eat that. Because that was my learned response. And since then, I've learned how to go back and heal those kinds of things. And it's been very helpful. It's just something I learned recently that is called the magnetic mind is what one person calls it because of the laws of attraction, that if you change your mind about something and you start thinking that new thought, you'll start attracting thoughts to that new thought versus that old thought. And so if I go back and I fix it in my mind and I say to myself that, I'm thinking of it through my mind's eye. I'm an adult now. As an adult mind, going back to that child mind and fixing that old thought to say, it wasn't something to be scared of. It wasn't something that you got sick from. It was some other things and some other factors. Or, don't worry about that. That's nothing now. You're a big girl. You can't do, however I want to talk to myself at those times. It depends. I may use my child, my adult talking to a child voice, or I may just reason and rationalize it to the point where it makes new sense to me. Like it no longer makes sense to think the old thoughts or the old ways. Um, okay, so I mentioned something about, I think I mentioned something about a TV show or a movie earlier. Yeah, a movie. And so, it's something that I've been thinking about, all these different movies that I've seen, different, like certain things would happen to me before the movie would come out. Certain things would happen to me before before they said it on the TV show, or before I went back and actually got what they were saying when I might have watched it before, which my mind might have been opened by it because of something that was said, so that I could now, like today, I sent something to, um, I sent a TikTok to someone, and it was about a young man who was riding a bicycle, and he was riding up the railing of the side of the bridge. So as he went over, he had a camera on his head. That's not a perspective that the average person would see. So now we're watching this perspective of this person's view from the camera off the top of his head, which, I mean, at the point where it splits from the road and is actually following the line of the rail, it takes a moment for your paradigm to actually step into place or set into place to realize what is now possible, because you hadn't ever thought of that being a possibility before. Now you think of it as something that not only is it possible, now in my mind I started realizing, that's what I see when I am dreaming, and I dream of flying. I used to be able to I started when I was young. When I was young, I started jumping off the top of the steps and started flying from there. And then I started jumping from the top of buildings. Then I started realizing, as I got older, as I started realizing what I was doing in my dreams, because a lot of times I have a whole nother world in my dreams. But anyway, so I can now stand still and jump like Superman. Da, 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 I don't have to run. I don't have to jump. All I have to do is stand still, and I can go up and I can go above. So when I saw what happened with this guy on TikTok, with him riding with his camera on the top of his head, and the view, it didn't register initially until the person that I sent it to said that was mind blowing. And so I had to go back and remember what was it that was mind blowing about it. And then it actually looking at it a second time made me think, that's what I see when I fly in my dream. I come over the top of things like that. And I guess it would be the same thing as if you were looking through a drone. But I don't have a drone. I have never driven a drone. I've probably seen a couple of things on TikTok that was filmed from a drone, but it just never dawned on me the way that did. That took hold and made me think, oh my gosh, the process of connecting that in my waking life to what happens in my dream, it just reminded me of something else I saw on TikTok, which was when the sky met the water. And so when the sky met the water, it was like a funnel. You didn't see the wind come down, but the wind came down and sucked up, and it became like a funnel of from the water to the sky. All right, I think that's enough. Maybe I'll do another one before the end of October, but definitely come out and see us. Come to Haunted Tales and Mystical Truths in DC. We're doing a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The final day is on Halloween. And we will be talking about some of these ghost story kinds of things. And I'm actually going to get into the explanation of some of the things that have happened. What I think happens when the cloak comes down and you see behind the veil. Things that have happened to me that I've only glazed over during my heart happy hour. I'm going to give you some poop and some scoop. I'm going to have a couple of professional masters of their own rights that are going to be online with me. Folks that have a similar outlook but have their own what do you call that? They are experts in their own field. Subject matter experts, that's what they are. So I'll give you more information about that, but in the meantime, click below for the info and get your tickets as well on the next under that. Click, click, click. Well, Love and Wellness, let me let you hear some more of my music. Let's see what's going on here on our way out. This is what we played last time on our way out. Oh no, this is Bob Omatic, Dion the Entertainer, and I wrote this song. This was for Bob Omatic, Mr. Bob, who built a studio for us. Let me tell you about a man I know, yeah. One Love and Wellness. See you soon.